Bread and Pastry Production, Quarter 4. Our topic is planning, preparing, and presenting dessert buffet selection or plating. Dessert presentation is all about making the dessert look as attractive as possible to the customers. It does not involve the creation of monuments on each plate, but rather an attempt to create and present food to the best of its potential. In an ever-changing world, food tastes have also changed. Pretentious presentation has been overtaken by simpler and cleaner style. Dessert presentation, while an important part of an establishment, other factors will also influence a customer's perception, including decor, comfort, friendliness, and efficiency of staff. Basic presentation principles. First is the color. A chef who uses color imaginatively can produce very effective results. However, this must never be at the expense of the flavor, texture, or balance. For example, a piece of baked cheesecake may look more effective when plated next to pouch quince instead of a strawberry. Unless this is deliberate, there would be a very little contrast in color or texture. Number 2 is the plate selection. Plates come in many shapes, sizes, patterns, and colors. Their primary role is to serve as a receptacle for food, which needs to be transported from the place of preparation, from the kitchen to the customer's dining area. In this context, it could be argued that any container could be used when serving food, but this is not so. The reason? Presentation. Number 3 is the positioning of food. Food is placed on the plate in the specific positions. Which way is to face the customer? Number 4, the freshness in foods. This is nearly always appreciated by customers, particularly if the ingredients had been sensitively handled. Number 5, garnishes. Food garnishes are decorations added to an item for color contrast and to provide visual appeal and flavor. Garnishes can be cooked or raw. Not only should the garnish be edible, but appropriate to a particular dish. For example, adding candied lemon or orange zest with chocolate mousse instead of strawberry is appropriate as their flavors are compatible with that of the mousse and are a point of difference. Number 6, traditional garnishes. Some dishes have become famous for their garnishes, and although created many years ago, they are still in use today. For example, peach melba, poached peach dessert with vanilla ice cream, and raspberry sauce. Number 7, innovation. Innovation in commercial cookery involves the development of new ideas or the further refinement of existing ones to suit changing tastes and trends. In Australia, it could be said that there has been dramatic innovation in recent years. This has been attributed to a number of factors which includes multiculturalism, new product availability, increased customers' awareness and expectations, the state of the economy, or how much people have to spend, and the tastes and trends in cuisine. A mass tourism takes effect around the world. Evolution in cuisines of all countries will happen. Number 8 is the portion control. Portion control means ensuring that the right quantity of food is prepared and served every time a customer's order a menu item. Dishes can be served in different profile. Single dessert, a larger portion, buffet dessert with a smaller portion. Enterprises can present greater variety while maintaining cost control and quality. In other words, customer will consistently satisfied every time they visit. Dessert presentations. Dessert can be presented in variety of ways, as party favors, in a dessert buffet, or as a grouping of delicious confections that aims at dazzling your guests. There are certain desserts that should be available for display, but it depends on the available facilities. Plan a dessert display appropriate to the location. Will it be displayed in a fully equipped commercial kitchen in a five-star location? Will it be displayed at a tranquil picnic spot by the river, 25 kilometers from the place of production? If there is no electricity, then the possibility of having ice cream is now greatly diminished and chilled cream cakes and dessert will not be on the menu. Dessert selection and plating requirements. Number 1, the facilities. All these possibilities need to be considered when planning the dessert display. Electricity, working space, ability of staff in the kitchen, ability of staff in front of the house, quality of the equipment that is given to work with, preparation of the product can be conducted elsewhere. All these possibilities need to be considered when planning the dessert display. Number 2, desirable equipment for display. Serving platter, sauce jug, plate, cutleries, napkin, tongs, lifter, refrigerated cooling, or hot display bain-marie. Number 3, production, storage, and service requirements. After the product has been produced and stored, the equipment needed to display and serve desserts need to be taken into consideration, as well as where it is going to be served. Number 4, choice of location. Most of establishments will be operating out of hotel and restaurant kitchens with all the required equipment. The serving platter, sauce jug, plate, cutlery, napkin, tong, lifter, refrigerated cooling, hot display bain-marie. Prudent management practices require a complete list of all equipment that may be required to be taken off-site for when customers desires a function by the river or in the park. Number 5, complexity of dessert. Some desserts are more complex than others to serve. Hot souffle needs special consideration and teamwork, so it is not desirable to place on menu for dessert display. Cold souffle would be a better choice for a dessert display. It will stand at room temperature for short periods if required. Sometimes customers prefer just a plain, unadorned dish of ice cream or simple slice of warm apple pie. When planning for plated dessert, there are 5 characteristics that should be considered. 3 applies to mouthfeel and flavor, and the most important, the flavor, the texture, and the temperature. The other 2 are the visual, which is the color and the shape. Flavors should enhance or complement each other, such as a caramel sauce served with roasted fruit, or offer a pleasing contrast as a tart flavor, lemon, paired with a sauce that is sweetened. To achieve this, taste the components separately and then together to evaluate and make sure they work together. Plan for pleasing combinations of textures and temperature. If the main item is soft, such as mousse or ice cream, add a crisp or crunchy component such as a small cookies or caramelized nuts for a texture contrast. Temperature contrasts are also pleasing, such as a scoop of ice cream with a warm fruit tart. Visually, a variety of colors and shapes can be attractive, but be careful not to include too much or the result will come across as a jumble. The plate needs to be visually appealing. Through the balanced use of color and shape, you can present a dessert simply and elegantly. Let the food speak for itself. Brown is a good color, and well-prepared dessert with a few shades of brown can look very appealing. A traditional tart tatin, for example, needs a little or no garnish to make it look appealing if the apples had been caramelized properly. All of these elements together create a palette from which an infinite number of combinations affect you differently whenever you put food on your table. Chefs, and now more than ever, pastry chefs are always trying to push the senses to the limits in never before thought of ways, but the underlying principles that make food taste good are unchanged. Variety and diversity in textures and the elements of taste make for interesting food. Avoid monotony. Contrast is as important as harmony, but avoid extreme and imbalance. Food that comes from the same place, time, season, or location usually works together. Fresh and ripe rules every time. In summary, always keep in mind these general concepts when planning dessert presentations. Every component should have a purpose. Do not add elements merely to make the plate fuller. Limit the items added primarily for decoration. Components or elements can work together by complementing or by contrasting. When elements contrast, be sure they balance. For example, when you balance a rich mousse with a tart fruit sauce, be sure that the sauce isn't so tart or strong flavor that it overwhelms the mousse. It is possible to get carried away with the concept of balance. It is not necessary to garnish every soft dessert with something crisp or very hot dessert with something cold. Sometimes customers prefer just plain, unadored dish of ice cream or simple slice of warm apple pie. A time to remember. This is Maylene Huliganga. Thank you for watching.